Tonight, I did a little research on our speaker, and she's got a very good response on the internet. But for those that don't know it, the world of public speaking has expanded to the web now. It used to be I'd stand up and talk and that, and now it's on the web and everything. You need to know a video to promote yourself, your brand, your product or service, and the company that you work for. You also need to know how to talk on camera and through video chats. I used to have to talk in the morning to Europe and Asia, and in the evening to I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Used to have to talk to Europe in the morning and Asia at night, because that's when they would start. The art of public speaking teaches you how to speak clearly, concisely, and compellingly to connect with the viewers through the static of video or chat. After 30 years of working in information technology for Fortune 100 companies, Pat Ferdinandi took a sharp turn and began a new career. Pat leveraged her existing skills of business architecture, strategy planning, systems design, and public speaking to help small companies demonstrate their value through video and video chat. Pat speaks and instructs business people on how to talk to the camera and create the right video to promote the business that you're in. She is a published author of 9 books, commercial and self-published. Her latest book is titled Your Video Playbook: How to Demonstrate Your Value Through Video. She's also written data warehousing advice for managers and a way to engage with clients and make money. She's also written books on how to get published, or books called How to Get Published. So please welcome Pat Ferdinandi.
Show of hands. How many, I was going to do that as the first joke, I have to tell you that, but I decided not to. How many of you have spoken in front of 5 million people? How about 300? Okay. How about 16? Every hand should go up. You have 16 people here. You stood up, you introduced yourselves. So at least you know that you are comfortable speaking in front of others. How many are willing to stand in front of an auditorium and actually speak? Comfortable with it? Well, I'm more than normal. For those that did not raise their hands, if I gave you a certified check for $1 million, would you do it?
Oh, yeah.
You're accountants. Of course you're going to do this. It is so important now to learn how to speak, not only in front of an audience here, but also on the internet. It requires YouTube, and it requires now the video chat, and I'm going to go over some of that with you. Public speaking is the best way to earn people's trust. Once you stand up in front of a group of people, you are assumed to be the expert. Whether you are or not, of course, is a question, yes. But you are assumed. The other thing is every single person in that audience wants you to succeed. So if every single person that gets nervous, gets knobby knees, and actually fears standing in front of a large audience, or maybe feel more confined as far as talking to only 5 people, realize that they are looking at you and are supporting you. So what you do is not to gain their trust, but you'll lose it if you don't do it well. What I'm going to be discussing are tips that are actually taught at advanced speaker schools. You're going to learn certain tips, certain tricks that are going to take you from just being a semi-good speaker, though I'm sure some of you are already expert speakers. We'll go and look to see if there's anything else that you could do to tweak your speech. The next question I have is, how's your Google juice? And Google juice, of course, Google being the #1 search engine. What I'd like to know is how many of you have a LinkedIn page? Okay? That's the first thing for those of you that are students, start doing tomorrow, is setting up your LinkedIn page. How many of you have your own video and YouTube channel?
I do.
That's how much juice you actually have. Because Google's formula puts a higher weight on YouTube and now the Google Plus Hangouts, that your chances of being up on page 1 has increased trifold. And in order for you to get some of that extra juice is how long people watch your videos. If they click away like within 5 to 10 seconds, doesn't really count. But if they watch over half of it, then you get Google points and you wind up doing a lot better on the search. To get to that level, the tips I'm going to teach you here are going to be the same tips that you could use on video. So the question is, how's your Google juice? Now I know you're accountants, so you like numbers, so the next slide would never be a PowerPoint slide. It's just a list of numbers for you for statistics. That this way you have numbers that talk about what Google says that they have 72 hours of video uploaded every minute. This was last spring. I am sure that number went up. In Google's announcement, what they said as Google advice is that the speech has to be so good because you're now competing on multiple devices. We've all been around the younger teenagers where they don't look at you in the eye. They're too busy texting while watching TV, and they're playing Angry Birds on their tablet. That is the competition you have right now as far as to get someone's attention. You need to realize that improving your speaking ability on the video is to invest your time so that it's watched on their cell phone. It is watched on their tablet, their PC, and their laptop. And now, soon with Apple TV, you'll be able to watch you on wonderful TV as well. The problem with all this social networking is not so much who you know, but who knows you? And what are they saying about you? Are they saying good things or are they saying bad things? Perfect case in point. I'm going to talk about the video. Has anyone heard of United Breaks Guitars? This country singer was taking a trip for a conference or some sort of gig, and he actually had his guitar. And someone said, looking out of the plein air window, and says, "Look at the baggage guys. Look what they're doing to that poor guy's guitar."
I saw that. That was fun.
All over the place, right? So here United had a video put up that got, I think the number is now up to 700,000 views of people laughing over that video. And what it was is watching them take horrible care. And he just wrote a country song just saying, this is how United treated me, this is what they did. Just horrible, horrible things is what they were saying about United. One smart small business owner that makes Taylor guitars saw that video, made a video response. If you are traveling, doing air travel, this is how you need to protect your guitar. Anyone that went to watch the United Airlines, the United Breaks Guitars, his video went with it. And his business went from average and spiked because of that video. If you work with any small business, think about that. And all he did was set up something like an iPhone, because the quality is really poor, but he just put his iPhone and just said, look, this is how you pack it. It showed how he packs a guitar for air flight. And his business went up. I think most of you, I don't think there's too many freelancers here. Are there freelancers or individual consultants here, besides yourself? One of the things you need to also worry about is your competition. Is your competition making videos? Are they doing public speaking? Because that's what you have to think of videos, is an opportunity to speak publicly and get your message out there. And if your competitor's doing it, they may be finding them before they find you. And the one thing about video, just as it is for public speaking, you earn people's trust. They get to know you. They get to like you. And people are more apt to buy from those they like than those they don't. The beauty of YouTube is that it's shareable on everything. So you can put it on your blog, you can put it in emails, you can put it on Facebook, and your Pinterest if you have that actually. For all you young people in Montclair State, you are going to now be asked to have a video conference that might be recorded so that they can evaluate you for a job or someone else. Headhunters are doing a search and checking your digital presence. If you come up higher with more juice, you'll be looked at and studied more. Though this is a video slide that talks about all the different kinds of videos, these are all the kind of public speech you can give. I was told a lovely story about an IRS situation where this poor woman came in with bags and bags of receipts and says, "Help me." And of course, what all you're going to do, you're going to look at the bag and you're going to say, "What am I going to do with all this mess?" Couldn't explain what is taxable, what's not taxable. Just said, these you throw away after separating them, these you hold in case you're audited. That's as much as she needed understanding. That is probably the biggest mistake most people do when they do public speaking. They are actually trying to show off how great they are, how much knowledge they have, when you really need to know your audience. Because if you make them feel comfortable, you will look better. It's the I-you ratio. Every single one of you, except for me, introduced yourself saying, "My name is," and then explain what you did. Here's the hard lesson. No one gives a crap who you are until they know you can help them. I started out by doing a story that related to every single one of you. The hair on the back of your neck went up in case you would have bags. Then I mentioned my name. I got your attention first. When I go to networking events, I never say who I am first. I always start out with something that might be of interest to them. People only care about themselves. Once you accept that, and you word your presentation that way, you will be ahead of most speakers. One of the examples I had there was nothing beats a demonstration than a demonstration. So if you're giving a presentation where you have to actually show how to do something, how to use something, try to add in a little humor. Has anyone heard Will It Blend? As a great example. Will It Blend was this poor young businessman that invented what he thought was the #1 blender. But he was competing with everybody else that had a much bigger name, much bigger marketing budget, and just more money to throw in. So what he did is he dressed up in a campy outfit, put a blender on, and said, "Will it blend?" His videos have gone through the roof because they're the videos of Will It Blend of an iPad, an iPhone, golf clubs, everything to show the power of his blender. And it went up. His sales went through the roof. And he now regularly produces. What's the impact of learning how to speak well or to put it on video? Anybody do not-for-profits? Here? No one does not-for-profits. Yeah, you sometimes do not-for-profits. Okay. Who's heard? Huh? Yes, they are there to make money, but they're listed as a not-for-profit. Has anybody heard of Snowball, the dancing cockatoo? Let me give you a little story of the backstory. In case any of you haven't realized, I love birds. In fact, I love parrots. I am owned by one. So it is very, very common for the community of parrot owners to kind of stick together and share information. We're not exactly like dog lovers or cat lovers. We're kind of weird. Cockatoos are about this big, and they are nicknamed the Velcro bird. They just want to be with you. They want to be with the flock. They never, never want to be separated. When they are, they screech like you wouldn't believe. Basically, it can make your ears bleed if you're in a room, small room with a bunch of them. Because they're trying to find you wherever you are and reach you and say, come back. The guy that owns Snowball, here he was. He says, I'm doing a lot of business travel. I think he actually was an accountant. He said, I'm now doing travel. It's just driving the bird nuts. I just don't feel comfortable. So he took the bird to a rescue organization. He said, I give you 25 minutes, and he's going to start screeching. But when he does, I just want you to put the CD on of the Backstreet Boys. Sure enough, it happened. Bird started screeching. She put the CD on, quieted down, and started beating exactly to the music. She took her original flip camera, which in very poor lighting, literally took a picture of this to show the parrot community. You gotta see this. Look at this. Do you believe this? How much he's exactly to the beat of the music? The rescue organization shared it with all their members, who showed it with their parrots. They showed it with their parrots. The last time I looked, it was over 5 million views. They have a little donate button underneath that video. She said that the money started coming in like water. Now, yes, there are people that probably watch it more than once. There are probably those that did not contribute. But if everybody did actually give $1, what would that turn out to be? I am sure that most people did not just give $1. The money, and this video I think is about 3 years old, is still coming in like water. And it was a crappy video. She has since done other videos because she has gone to a class like Toastmasters. How many people have heard of Toastmasters? It is your best $100 you could spend a year. But before you think that it's just for crazies to do any of a video and to do something with animals as far as like Snowball, the dancing cockatoo, has anybody heard of Witham Accounting in New York City? They're a huge, pretty much a big around. They have an annual video that they do to promote the state of the business. And I have their link also on that page. And this one particular one that I have a picture of is a flash mob from the 2012 annual report. What's interesting is looking at the comments. Because the comments on those videos, one person put in saying, you really look like a great company to work for. I'm graduating with accounting degree in May. How do I apply? So before you think that videos for smaller companies, videos not for me, think of the recruitment that video can do. I already mentioned about Hangouts on Air and that you're going to need speaking skills for Hangouts on Air. Hangouts is like a video chat. It's either a public one or it's actually a private one. Hangouts are just for 10 people when you send them an invite, or it can be public, and when it's public, it goes automatically stored to YouTube. You still want to introduce yourself by putting your name last. You still want to get their attention. You want to make sure on these other slides we're going to talk about is dress, talk, and sharing of stories. What I find when I talk to clients, I ask them if they want to be the face of their company, and they're like, oh my God, I do not. I'm petrified of being on camera because of the things that could happen. The video could go viral and I look like crap. I make you feel comfortable so that you're not so worried about that. What I find is that 68% of the people I talk to are actually petrified of talking or public speaking. I was actually amazed when you all did your own numbers and how high you actually all were saying, okay, I'll do it, no problem. That's pretty good. You all can be a great presenter. You just need to understand some basics and a process. You remember that episode? Yeah. I think this is more important because of Hangouts on air than anything else. Is when I get up in the morning, I said I could be called in on a Hangout. I got to go put my makeup on. And believe me, sometimes I'm not thrilled about it. But just to go briefly, there's a 7-step process. The first 4 apply to public speaking. The next 3 primarily deal with the differences by doing it on video. And then the last is more promotion. I don't care if you're talking about the annual report. What is the emotional reason of why they want to hear you speak? They want to hear about their profits because it makes them feel as if they're successful. They want to hear about the changes because they're afraid of all the outsourcing going on. What is the emotional reason for the speech that they're interested in? Start with that, and then you can go with the how and the what. You want to know what they know. If I went or if I started talking to somebody that came in with bags and bags of receipts saying, well, look, a debit is this is a taxable thing because of the Obamacare, this is because, I would have lost them. I need to know what they know. If you think of a scale going from 1 to 5, 1, they know nothing. 5, they probably even know more than I do. If your audience is somewhere between the 1 and 5, and that's what you have to get a flavor of, so then you know how to adjust your speech. Why I asked you how many people have been speaking or are comfortable speaking, I'm not going to go over some of the basics because you already know that. I'm going to go quickly over certain steps because you're already further along. Now I have other people that are saying, oh, I'm petrified because I know my boss is going to be in the room and my boss is definitely know more than I do. So how do I go and sound the smartest I can? What you add is your perspective. Never aim for the 5. Aim a little bit lower because you have the curse of knowledge. You think everybody knows as much as you do. And you're talking on a different page of the book. So always start a little lower so that you can set the stage. Every movie you go to, every TV show has an opening scene that sets the stage for the entire show. You watch it, it's the first 10 seconds. That's what you need to do. Set the stage. And then even the brightest or those that are just maybe a little bit below will understand what you're talking about. You need to know what they know. Then you make sure your message is clear. My message is that anybody can do this, whether it's if you are used to video or are used to public speaking, you can also do it on video. If you know what you're actually going to talk about, you know your topic really well, that's fine. You understand how to narrow it down to the smallest nub. So that I know the audience, I now know how I have to word it. I've been telling you stories. I know you're accountants, but how many, without looking back, how many hours of videos being uploaded every minute?
72.
Very good.
That was not current. That was last June. And bonus points.
I'll be up to date.
Bonus points. I'll tell you truthfully, numbers are forgotten. Stories are retold. And if you want the juice, you want to be able to build the reputation of trust and loyalty, tell it in a story. You will remember about Snowball and the money coming in like water, more than me saying the 5 million views. You want to make the person feel comfortable. You have to talk for them, not for you. You're not showing off your knowledge. You're showing your empathy, and you're showing the fact that you can communicate with all different levels. How do you do that? You stand up and you just talk straight without any pauses or anything, you're going to put everybody to sleep. How many have watched the CEOs of major companies and just almost fell asleep saying, gosh, just tear my eyes and ears off because I can't stand listening to this guy anymore. And then they have a keynote speaker. As soon as they say, good morning, it's like, my God, it's the professional. Thank God we're going to be woken up. What the professional does is tell stories, pauses. Because there's a little known fact. No one absorbs what you say when they're listening. They can't. The mind is in the mode of, I must hear you. But before they will understand you, they need a pause. Which is why the ums, you knows, so, all those filler words take away from your speech. They take away from your presentation. And the best thing is Toastmasters, they will sit there and they will practically, with the old nun ruler of hitting you on your hand, saying, you know, you will not say that. It's almost to that level without any physical things. To try to get you to break the habit of filler words. They want you put so much heart and soul into your speech, they want to make sure it's heard. Standing there straight face also doesn't make any, especially on video. Because at least in a presentation like this, you can walk. If you watch a TV show or a movie, there's a change in scene of some type every 10 seconds. You sit there and count and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you will see by 10, it will have changed somehow.
And if it's an ad, it's 1 second.
If you need to move faster, it will go down. It will. If you have like a chase scene or something else, you'll see that it changes even faster. Every 10 seconds is a change. But you don't want to become happy feet either. You want to move on purpose. We're going to talk briefly about the outline, and I will talk to you also about moving. Now, on video, how do you do that? You can have flying text come in there, or you can use your hand movements, or smile and then lower the smile. Any sort of facial expression or vocal variety will add interest to your speech. Every second counts. Basic script structure is to take advantage of every second you have. Now, is there anybody here that's an actor or an actress? Have been on stage at all?
All the world's a stage.
Oh, yes, it is. Most of you are not. Do not memorize your speech. Never memorize your speech. I have seen and coached enough people where once they got in front of people, they panicked because they forgot a line. And they just get this deer in the headlights look.
Private dust.
Memorize your opening line and your closing line. And think of only 3 points and 3 stories in between. If you mix the points up, no one knows, no one cares. If you change stories because you heard something different, it sparked a different idea, doesn't matter. You won't panic because you'll be more attached to the audience versus memorizing and putting this wall that you see between you and the audience. When you're preparing a presentation, let's say a 4-minute presentation, you get 1 minute for the opening, 1 minute for the closing, max, and then 2 minutes to discuss the detail. The body of your speech is half the time you're supposed to use. Which on video, you have a lot more that goes on at the end. You have your call to action somewhere, you have telling so many other people to kind of take some sort of action even in the speech. Make sure you check she was a fantastic speaker in that on your smile sheets. That is what is important. Memorize your opening line, your last line. When you go through the 3 points in front of an audience, that's when you can move. Point 1. Now let me tell you about point 2. Now let me tell you about point 3. Having that sort of movement will actually keep the audience with you and helping them get like a visual understanding of what you're saying, okay, that's point 1, point 2, point 3. It actually adds to the memory. The key is the transition, though. You can't just say one statement, go right to the next one and the other one. You need some sort of smooth transition. So the old rule, I started my career working for IBM when IBM meant something. And they used to say, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you remind them what you told them. And what you say in the beginning, I'm going to cover these 3 issues, 1, 2, 3. Issue number 1, and they would do that. Issue number 2. Issue number 3, and then I would finish it. You have a smooth transition, and it gives you those little anchors that your audience can hook into. Be careful of how you dress, especially if you're going to be videotaped. Iron your shirt. Wrinkles show up tremendously. Avoid white and avoid red. That includes your ties. Avoid shiny. And avoid stripes that are going to go and wiggle and make the audience get a little uneasy when we're talking about very busy stripes. Now, if you're going to do something where it's a comic, or it's like this particular episode where I had to wear the parrot costume, that's one thing. But on most cases, you will see me not wear white, you will not see me wear red. It all depends on the lighting. Now, I also made another mistake once, is that I had this beautiful blue suit. And I was asked to give the presentation of this new IBM machine. Problem is, the suit was the exact color as the IBM blue on the machines. It looked like a head going through. No one told me. No one warned me ahead of time. But these are the things you never realize you have to think. When I'm going to actually give a speech somewhere in a large auditorium, I ask them what the back drapes are going to be. Because I don't want this moving head that goes along.
Charlie just said it's like the weather girl wearing green.
Absolutely, absolutely. What they say is the reason why they use green, there's a green or blue that you can use to try to replace the background, because they don't think that most people wear that. And it's easy enough for the video to pick up and to change.
But the green screen, that's where they put the maps.
Absolutely, and she should have known that, actually. But you can switch it to chromic blue. They have a chromic blue. If you're going to give a speech, I don't know if any of you noticed, because you may not be linked to me yet, I announced that I was speaking tonight at LinkedIn. I announced it on Facebook. I announced it on Twitter. I announced it on Google Plus. If you want a full audience, you have to pre-announce it. It is one of the things you need to do. If you're going to give something in the office, you do want people in the audience because it's actually going to make you feel more comfortable. Announce it. Invite other people. See if you can invite other people to the meeting that you're going to give a presentation. Afterwards, promote that you did this. Make sure you put a comment saying, oh, I had a great event, we had a great topic. If you heard another speaker, mention that they did this, they did that, I learned this from the speaker. Anything just to keep the event alive. The longer it lives, the longer the attendees will remember it. It's actually adding feedback of reinforcement. It's the movie says, build it and they will come. No way. You have to promote yourself. Promotion is your responsibility. Not the person running the event, though that's nice, but you can never depend on it. You must always promote yourself. If you don't toot your horn, there is no music. You're always going to get somebody in an audience that's going to be a pain in the tuchus. It's going to tell you everything you did wrong. They are not your customer. They are not who you're trying to please. They are raining on your parade because they don't have a parade of their own. And that's a statement by Jeffrey Gitomer, and I have a couple of his stuff inside there as well. This slide doesn't apply to any of you because it's do or do not, but it sounds like most of you have given presentations. There is no trying. The final pages are my selfless, if I could pronounce it properly, selfless self-promotion. So just keep that with you. If you ever need me, please understand that you can contact me if you have specific questions. I'll be happy to answer. If you want me to look at a speech, I'd be more than happy to look at a speech. I'd be happy to coach you, no problem, because I want you to have money coming in like water because you gave a good presentation and that you actually videoed it so that you could show it off to everybody. Because you are all that good. You've learned the tips that most people don't know. You learned about structure, transfer, vocal variety, pauses, telling stories, and the most important thing, it's about their need, their emotional need, not yours. Now go give a presentation.